What is happening? Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. This is Matt Javid alongside Nikki Javid. We are a traveling couple that has been on the road for over 2 years now, documenting our journey on this podcast and on our website, passportjoy.com. Hoping to share things to help you travel better, whether it's a weekend getaway or a week-long vacation, or if you're looking to do something like we did and take a career gap. Maybe we can help you plan for that. Today is about Kolkata, India. We had a chance to have a 23-hour layover there. We took advantage of that and had a chance to see the city. And we're going to talk about that today. Give you some insight on what it's like to get off a plane, navigate a city quickly, and then get back on a plane to another city. It was a unique opportunity, and we took full advantage of it. And that's what we're trying to share today. We'll check out the show notes at passportjoy.com under the podcast tab. I'll share some of the links that we talk about today if that interests you with Kolkata. And I also have the show notes for all the episodes there. It's a great way to just see the things that we discuss, and it may hopefully make your trip easier if you're going to Bangkok or Lisbon or Chile, Santiago, Chile, wherever you decide you might go. We have the podcast, and we also have the list of all the information that we share there on the things we discuss. If you're asking yourself, who are these people? Where have they gone? You can look at the Journey So Far tab on passportjoy.com, and it'll list all the places we've gone, country by country, month by month, on this over 2 years now that we've been traveling the world. Or you can listen to episode 45. That's where we break down the entire journey up to this point, and it's in the audio aspect of what's there on the website. Nikki has released her first book, and we're really excited about it. It's called Passport Joy: Reflections on Life, Love, and Other Stuff While Traveling the World. It's an awesome book. It's available on Amazon. Please check that out. She put a ton of time into that, and it is. We're very excited that she has it published now, and it's just her. She's very open in it, and it talks about everything she's gained from this experience, but also it talks about her life before the experience as well. So again, Passport Joy, just go on Amazon, look that up, or go on the website, and I have a link on the right-hand banner there. You can just click and it takes you right to the book. World Barbershop Adventures continues to post new episodes. We just post the Hyderabad, India episode. I'm very excited about it. Shows highlights of the Indian wedding we were at, me playing cricket with the kids, on a toddy wine run, dancing on the stage. Everything from the Hyderabad adventure is on the new World Barbershop Adventures YouTube series. Please check that out. And if you would like to receive a brief email of our adventures from the road, go to passportjoy.com, put your email address in there, click go, and that gives you every Thursday an email from me that highlights the adventures we're going through currently, and then the things that we see on the horizon, and also little travel nuggets along the way. And if you want to support us, please go to the passportjoy.com/partners page. That's where we list out all the companies that help us along the way. And it's things that from everything from the travel focus to reading books. And also I've been interviewed on podcasts now probably 20 to 25 times on different podcasts. I helped get that exposure through podcastguests.com. And if you go on the partners page, you can click on there and you can get a discounted rate for podcast guests. But it's a great way to get that exposure to maybe get you in front of podcasters in your particular niche that can help you get your name or your brand out there. So check that out. That's one of the partners we use at passportjoy.com/partners. All right, that is it. Hope you enjoy this episode. It's a lot of fun for us to explain how we made it happen, and it should be a good one. Okay, so we ended up in Calcutta, India on a 23-hour layover. We left Hyderabad, all the festivities of the Indian wedding and everything that was going on there. And then we were going to Bangkok for a short layover before we go to Australia. But as I was planning it out, I saw that there was actually the cheapest flight gave us a 23-hour layover in Calcutta. Most people would cringe on something like that, having to wait in an airport or whatever that long to get on your next flight. But we decided to turn it into a day of sightseeing, and it was great because it timed out where we landed at about We were supposed to land around 3:30, but we ended up landing about 4:30, and then we weren't leaving until about 3 the next day. So that's a good chunk of time that you can really see a city. It doesn't always work out that way, but if you can navigate when you're searching for flights, you can find things like that. Highly recommend them. We did it in Doha, Qatar. Had an amazing about a 4-hour tour in Doha where we got a guide and we saw the city that way. And we also did it in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I had a chance to get out of the airport, walk around the city for about 3 hours, check it out. And it was enough to get a taste of the city and want to go back. So if those things pop up, we highly recommend those. And it can be a great way to do that. So I knew we had this 23-hour layover. And as I was planning what to do during that time, I actually had a connection in Kolkata already from an interview I did about World Barbershop Adventures with a young guy. He's a new grad. His name is Shayan, and he lives in Kolkata. So I reached out to him. I just said, hey, looking for ideas, any recommendations you can give me. And if you're available, I would love to get a chance to meet you. So during that process of going back and forth a little bit, he ended up lining up his friend Proteek, who is a law student. He's a current law student, but he also works as a guide on the side. So we had the luxury of being able to meet with those two. We coordinated all out so we could land, check into our hotel real quick that was by the airport, and meet those guys about 6 o'clock, and then spend 5 hours with them, seeing their city that night and really doing some authentic things because Proteek and Shayan were very passionate about their city, but also they knew, because they're from there, they know places that can give us a real approach to sightseeing there. And then I came in with the idea that we should go to a part of town called Park Street, where we were recommended to go there. There's great street foods, and we were told it was a great area. After telling those guys about the desire to go there, they said, no, that's kind of touristy, if there's such a thing in Kolkata as touristy. So they said, let's take you to the real Kolkata, which is North Kolkata. And it's near the neighborhoods that they lived, and there's a lot of school stuff up there, a lot of colleges up there. So that's where they wanted to take us. And so that was a great decision because it was a great trip. During the whole time, between all the different forms of transportation, Proteek was just dropping all kinds of knowledge and facts about the city, which was fantastic because I didn't come in knowing much at all. I just knew that Mother Teresa was from there, and basically it's a major city near Bangladesh. But he ended up telling us all about it. Essentially, it's the capital of India's West Bengal state, which is, as far as if you're looking at India, it's the furthest west of the country. But it was founded as the East India Company trading post. And at one point, it was India's capital for a very long time, up to 1911, almost 150 years. Today, it's known for its grand colonial architecture, art galleries, a bunch of festivals. He continued to remind us to come back in September for a big festival that was going on. And it's the home of the mother house, which is where Mother Teresa founded her missionaries, and that's where her tomb is. The tomb is on site. So he was continually dropping facts like that and just knowledge over and over enough that we got a good sense of the city, and it was just a great way to break up the travels as we were going in and out of cars and just sitting over coffee or tea or whatever. He was giving us ideas on some of the people there as well. They pick us up, we grab an Uber, and we go towards the first thing he wanted to show us was the Ganges River, which, if you've never heard anything about the Ganges, it's an important part of India for many reasons. And we had a chance to see it at night. Because it was darker, we didn't get the whole flavor of it, but we still had a chance to really see it.
The Ganges River is a very spiritual place, and we were told that a lot of people, there's an area of India, it's called Varanasi, where people, when they become at the end stage of their life or they become older, they actually move to this area of India so they can die. And the reason being is that the Ganges River itself is thought to have like holy powers or spiritual powers. And when your body when your body passes, they burn the bodies, actually, kind of like what would be considered like cremation anywhere else or other parts in the world. But they burn the bodies, they drape them in these beautiful flowers, and then they submerge the burnt body in the Ganges River. And it's believed that when you do this, that you'll have basically eternal enlightenment, eternal basically peace for the rest of your life. So that's one thing that happens in the Ganges River in this particular area called Varanasi. But where we were, that's not the area. We were in Kolkata, so it's still considered a very holy place, no matter where you are at in the particular part of the river. So, like Matt said, it was nighttime. It was very, I guess, dark. It looked kind of mucky, like a muddy water, but there were still people that were taking their pants and rolling them up to, their knees just so they could dip part of their body in this water, because even if you're still alive and well, it's considered by some people that if you dip part of your body into these waters, that it has healing powers or holy powers. And that's a really special thing for some people. We did not get inside the river, but I did just go along it and see it and, soak it all in that way. But it's definitely a sight to see. It's massive. When you stood there at nighttime, I guess the cool thing we were able to see is that although it was super dark, on the complete opposite side, as far as the eye could see, there was all these tiny little twinkling lights. And we were told that for every light we saw, it was a temple on the other side. So that was pretty cool. And I guess we wouldn't have been able to see that during the day. But usually during the day, there's a lot more activity, people going in, taking baths. And again, even in the area of Kolkata, our guide was telling us that there is a small section of where you will see bodies that have passed, and they are cremating the bodies and putting them in the Ganges River.
And then from there, we basically started like almost a mini food tour. We were in this little neighborhood area, and the first thing that he wanted to make sure that I taste, because I told him that I was hungry and I was open to whatever the locals were eating. So the first thing that he showed us was puchkas. They're also called pani puri. Puri in Hindi is a deep fried, crunchy dough. It's essentially like a little mini donut, but it's hollowed out in the inside. It's about a golf ball size. So from the States, if you think of like a mini donut, but it's hollow, and then it's very thin, almost like paper chip thin. And then the word pani means water. So pani puri is the word, but they also call them puchkas. But anyway, they give you this tiny little leaf bowl, and it's big enough to hold one of those puchkas. The vendor, the guy that was selling these, would grab one, and then he poked a hole in the top of it, and then he put these spices and I think potato and just all kinds of like hot stuff inside it. And then he dipped it into this water, this spicy water that was in a huge vat. It didn't look particularly clean, but it was still, the way that all went down, you knew it was a good deal. And then he dipped it in there quickly, put it on your little leaf plate, and then you're told to eat it quickly. Because I guess if you wait too long, it's going to get soggy. So as I ate it, it was still crunchy and good. And damn, it was really good. I ended up having a few of them, but it's one of the main things you see on the street sides, puchkas stands. And these guys have piles of these look like donut balls, but they end up punching a hole in it and putting the spice water inside. And then from there, we walked along the streets a little bit. I end up getting this mixture of these dried and fresh veggies with this puff rice. The guy mixes it up, fries it up, and then puts it into this small newspaper cone. And I just kind of walked with that and ate that for a little while. And then we saw these guys playing the game called Carom, which I've never seen in my life. It was really cool. It's like a square, almost like a huge checkerboard, but they were flicking with their fingers these what looked like checkers into pockets in each of the corners. So it was almost like a mini pool table, if you're shooting for pockets in the corners, with only 4 of them, but they were flicking it with their fingers. And obviously there's a ton of strategy that went onto it. We only watched it for about 6 minutes, so I couldn't really pick it up that much, but it was just neat to see a street game like that. There was like 6 guys standing around watching 2 guys play. But I love games and sports and things like that. So that was neat for me to see that. And then we kept walking around a little bit. We passed this. There was a big passing train. We had a chance to see that. And then we were going to go to our next place, but then we stumbled upon this street barber, which looked amazing. At the time, there were 3 barbers in there. They're all giving shaves. And the way that there was a front door open, is essentially it was a wide open, I guess, storefront where there's not really a window there, where the actual barber was almost on the street. I guess the whole dynamic of it and just the way it grabbed me from the street, I said, man, I got to do a shave here. So we ended up taping an episode of World Barbershop Adventures there. And the guy was super friendly, and Odeshwar was his name, but he did a great job. And it was such a unique experience to be that close to the street. And the streets are pretty chaotic in Kolkata. So to have everybody walking by, and then like kids were popping up and looking to see what was going on, and all the honking horns and the rickshaws and everything going by. It was a neat experience to go through that, and just something I had to do, and we did. It was a lot of fun. From there, we took an auto rickshaw into another part of town because we really couldn't connect. The taxis wouldn't take us all the way where we wanted to go, so it just made more sense to just grab an auto rickshaw. I guess just based on the time of the night, everything wasn't available. But we went there and we stopped at a sweet shop, because they've got these sweet shops all over any city we've been to in India. There's a ton of sweets everywhere. In this particular case, we had a couple. I ended up eating like 4 or 5 different things. Nicky had a couple things. The main thing that I had that they were wanting me to try was a Lady Kenny, which is kind of this fried dipped sugar syrup ball. And that was really delicious. I had a couple of those. And then the other thing at the end they asked me to try was a bhapa doi. I'm saying that right. Bhapa doi, which is a yogurt and condensed milk blend, but it tastes like almonds and pistachios. So it almost tastes like rice, like a rice pudding to me. It was really tasty. And that was the thing that they were really excited about for me to try. It's like, Matt, you got to try this. So I did. And that was good. From there, we went to what was considered an important place for them. And even after the fact, I found it's extremely important, but it's called College Street Coffee House. And this is a cafe near there's a few colleges over there, in particular the University of Kolkata. And it's a coffee shop that you can smoke in there, and it was pretty wide open, but it's a place where a lot of people meet, intellects meet. I guess there's a lot of debating and whatnot that goes on there, but it's probably a great place for after you go to your courses in college. Maybe you go and meet there with your friends and classmates and just talk about the things of life. But when we got there, it was right about closing. So we had to beg to get for them to stay open for us. And they did. They gave me a coffee and gave us a chance to just sit there and take it all in. Then it closed shortly thereafter. But you could tell how cool it was, and just the oldness of it. There's some old paintings on the wall, and it just had a particular vibe to it. Yeah, they had books as well. It was just a different type of thing. But what's interesting is after the next day, when I was posting some stuff on Instagram, one of the guys that I talked to on Instagram said, "Hey, did you go to the College Street Coffee House while you were in Calcutta?" And I sent him a photo, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's great." So it's definitely a place in Calcutta that's important to the people that live there, people that have gone there, and we wanted to make sure we take that in. And our hosts, our guide, really thought it was important as well. So that was a neat experience. And from there, we were walking to the train station because they thought it would be really cool if we took the train, and so we agreed to that. And it was definitely an experience. But as we were walking to the train station, we passed an egg roll place, which reminded me that everybody told me I had to get the chicken egg roll while I was in Kolkata because they're known for that. Because essentially it's this, it's paratha is the wrapping, which I love paratha. And then it's filled with this chicken and egg. We're going to go to our expert food. Please just do it.
Oh my gosh. It's paratha is the bread. Think of a burrito. So a burrito, instead of a flour tortilla, they're using paratha, and they lightly fry it so it's slightly crisp on the outside. And then the inside, they smear on top of the paratha like tons of Indian spices, what would be considered like a salsa. And then they put a layer of egg and some chopped up chicken that's also flavored with Indian spices. And then they roll it up. And they fry it a little bit more, but not deep fry. Just like they fry it on this metal grill so that it's slightly crisp on the outside. So you have this roll that kind of looks like a burrito, but it's not. It's like their version of a burrito. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I definitely want to figure out how to make these things at home because it was the best. It was probably one of the best street foods I ever had in my life. It was that good. And yeah, flaky, crispy, and then it had the spice in there and the chicken, and it was just so damn good. And it's really probably a great drunk food, but I was 100% sober. But it was Yeah, it was so tasty. So from there though, we ate that, or I ate that, and we went down to and Nikki had a couple of some like vegetarian veg chop was what she had. We were walking to the Howrah Station, which is the largest and busiest railway complex in India. So I'll let that sink in. It's the busiest railway complex in India. So being with Pratik and Cheyenne made it easier for us to navigate. So it wasn't as intimidating as it would have been, but it was still pretty chaotic and it's pretty intense. We got through the ticket process. We actually bought tickets outside the actual station to make it easier as we got in. And then because of the time of the night we were there, it wasn't as busy. They said it probably gets about 10 times busier than when we saw it. But once we got on our train, so we got to our train, they posted our train that we were on. We got to our train and we were one of the first people in there. There was a couple of the guys that were sitting down. We sat next to them and the whole thing probably sat 50, but then there was another 20 standing. So in this entire little cabin of the train, there were about 70 people, 70 guys and Nikki. There were no other women except for Nikki. But just Nikki was the only woman on this entire train. But it was pretty relaxed. We talked the entire time. As it got going, it got to decent speeds, maybe 25 miles an hour at tops. But it's what you expected. As soon as it went to a spot, there was a lot of jumping off and jumping on. It only stopped for probably 50 seconds to a minute in certain places. And so there was a lot of in and out. And then as our stop approached, they were very, I guess, encouraging of us to navigate to as far as we could to get close to the exit, because we were actually on the walls as we were sitting. We were sitting in sitting along the chairs up back against the wall. So for us to get to the place where we had to jump off the train, we had to work through a little crowd to get there. And then with Nikki being the only woman, we wanted to be cautious of that and everything. But it was pretty easy. Nothing crazy happened, and we got on and off. We had a chance to experience the train and the trains that you see in the movies where people are hanging off, because there were definitely a couple of guys hanging off ours as well. And but it was, and this was like a chill time of the night, so I can't imagine what that's like at like 6 o'clock in the day or 8 o'clock in the morning. So we got off there, and then we went to an old tea stall. Extremely old. He said it's been around for a long time, and the guys made a ton of money, but it was a tiny stall. But you can tell it's one of those places that just nonstop serves tea. We had some tea there and just kept talking, and then it was getting close to about 11, so we walked through. We wanted to go to a place where we can grab an Uber, and so we walked through a pretty stretch of a decently seedy neighborhood where if it was just Nikki and I probably wouldn't have walked through it, but being with those guys, we felt a little bit more comfortable. But and then we got asked to go to a temple, or just weird, just dudes at night doing weird things were occurring. So that was, we went there, and then we got the Uber. Those guys rolled with us and got home to make sure we got home okay and everything was fine. But overall, Nikki and I, we got back home and we were just like, man, that was an awesome 5 hours. It was truly authentic, a great sense of the city, and I guess the true part of the city, because even talking to those guys, I don't think there's a good pulse on the population there. I mean, you look at numbers online, there's anywhere from 5 to 12 million. And then talking to those guys, they put the numbers in that region to 40 million. I mean, it's just so condensed, it's so densely populated, and there's just people everywhere. That's kind of the impression that I took from Calcutta. We definitely want to go back and spend more time there, but the chaos of the people, and we've been to, I don't know, eight Indian cities now, but it just felt like this was more intense than anything we've seen, with the number of people, with the dogs and the cows and the traffic and the honking and the everything, and the homeless. It's the amount of homeless that we saw there really kind of stays with you, and where you see the homeless living was crushing at times. But the food was amazing. The opportunity to hang out with these two guys in their city was fantastic, to feel their passion for their city and to hear their own personal stories on what they're doing and what their dreams of the future. And then the next day I had a chance to walk around as well and talk to a few locals and take some photos and some footage and stuff, and just see it during the day. And it was just, it's a great city. It's somewhere you definitely want to visit, and one of those places that hopefully when we get back to India, it's on our list of, we got about 5 other cities we want to visit, but it's in that list as well to spend more time in. But if you get a chance, I know Bangladesh is close and it's in a good pocket region where you could probably hit 3 or 4 locations rather quickly in that region within a 2 to 3 week period. Highly recommend it because it's an authentic experience and something that will definitely change the way you view home and how you view the rest of the world. So that's it. Enjoy Kolkata. And that is it for this episode. Thank you again so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. This really helps Nikki and I get in front of new traveler listeners that might not be aware of our story. And also thank you for some of the great reviews that we've been left. We really appreciate those. It helps us to continue to do this. And obviously we're not making any money from it. It's just our way of sharing and giving back on our journey. So thank you for the kind words that are shared from all the different platforms. We love seeing those. If you want to see the links from the podcast that we shared from the conversation we had today on Calcutta, go to the podcast tab at passportjoy.com. Under the episode listing, you'll see everything that we talked about, including links to like the coffee tea house and stuff like that. And you can always follow along with us and get our travel updates by signing up for the newsletter at passportjoy.com. You just put your email address in there, click go, and every Thursday I send out an email that has our travel tips and tools, everything we're going through, our updates, and also travel tips to make your journey better. And as I said earlier, if you haven't picked up Nikki's book yet, please do. It's a great read. It's called Passport Joy: Reflections on Life, Love, and Other Stuff While Traveling the World. It's her first published book. We're really excited about it. You can get it on Amazon. You can also go to the website, click on the side right banner, takes you directly to the book. And it's an awesome read. It gives you insight on her, what she's felt through this journey, but also gives you some exposure into her life before the journey. So it's a lot of fun, and she's definitely open in the book, and she's got some great feedback already. So and please, if you do read the book and you enjoy it, leave her a review on Amazon. That really helps her get in front of new travel readers that are out there. All right, we'll be back next week with a new episode, and we'll be in the Down Under in Australia. So we're excited to do that, and watch for that coming soon. Thanks.